awesome.
All right, we are recording. You want to kick us off, Dave?
Sure, Heather. I really appreciate that. Hi, my name's David Pearlman, and Director of Modern Workplace at Microsoft, and with me is
Heather Cox. I am a modern workplace specialist based here in the Atlanta, Georgia area.
excellent. And today is November 5th, and you're on MS Office Hours. So the good news is, Heather, if somebody put the two of us in a car with the windows rolled up during the summertime, we'd probably run out of air pretty quickly. So we'll just leave it there. So today, we're going to actually be covering kind of two, I think two passion projects. So we're really talking about virtual events, right? And so I'll share out a couple of things that I've highlighted some of these assets before, and then I'm only going to spend a few minutes kind of on what we're doing. So we get these kind of questions, say, what is the right venue to do different kinds, different modalities in terms of one-to-many events, right? And we've heard some folks talk about virtual tours. We've had some other folks share things on where they've done, they've had a speaker and they've used live events, and they've had either a school or a graduation. We're going to kind of take you through our two shared experiences. Heather's is a lot more interesting than mine, so she'll be doing more of the speaking, but it doesn't take away from the fact. So we have a large system in New York City that has, I don't know, 300,000-400,000 students spread across 26 campuses. A lot of folks are remote. A lot of folks are dealing just, again, with a lot of the things related to the pandemic, trying to figure out careers and other things. And so we've kind of been working for the last 3 months to try to create this community around how can we integrate with some of these students, get people familiar with Teams, right? And they're in the process of rolling out. We said, hey, why don't we do some kind of virtual event? And so I'm going to share out, I think I've sent this link out a few times to everybody, but it is just a phenomenal resource in terms of the guidance for virtual events here. And let me pull this up. Let's see. I have way too, I should close down everything, Heather, before I do this. It's just killing me. Career pathways. I don't know. Let's see if I share it. Nope, that's the wrong one. Well, we're going to start here. So I'll share the guidance anyways in a minute. So kind of what we started with was, how do we want to do this, right? And we oftentimes try to make these things complicated. Heather likes to make things more complicated because she's way more smarter than me. No, way more intelligent than me. Well, we'll just tell her that. So really what the goal here was to be able to, so we worked with our store partners and we wanted to have one kind of meeting where we could invite people from a bunch of different schools in. And so then we started getting into issues with tenants and guests and what are we going to do? Do we want to do it on our tenant? Well, guess what? Us nutty Microsoft people want to have people involved using their own technology, right? And so we actually had the stores come in and they're happy to help train, so virtually. So what we're doing is we're doing kind of this panel, Heather. And so for this first session, we're going to have a bunch of Dean of Student Services and some other folks asking the Microsoft people essentially how did they come to this particular engagement? Why are they interested in this? And again, because I spent some time in career services. So we're going to do this as a live meeting, right? And then we're going to have a bunch of 3 follow-ups. So we don't quite have breakout rooms yet for everybody, although I could do it. I really wanted them to do it. So between 3 different schools, I believe, we're going to have these different sessions. So one of us is going to be leading business and sales and marketing. Can you still see my desktop, Heather?
Yes.
Okay.
I just stepped away for a second. I'm coming right back.
Absolutely. Then we'll have another group, another live meeting, engineering and cloud, and personal passions and career pursuits, which is kind of marrying up what you find is really interesting along with what you're doing. And so this was really easy, right? We set up a form on Microsoft Forms, forms.microsoft.com. People have to register. Upon registering, then we created a little flow that sends them out the registration link with each of the call-in numbers and the links for these particular things. And, we've aligned it with time. It really did not take that long to do. It actually took us longer to agree on the questions we were going to be asking each other in order to do that. And again, this is just one example. I'm going to share with everybody. I just think it's probably one of the best assets. So when you click, let me see if you can, and so not everybody had the application. So we also sent in the mobile app, right? So, hey, what if we have a cell phone, those kind of things. We also wanted to share. And then lastly, let me get to the guidance here. I'm going to share out this link. I've shared it before. It is just phenomenal. So there's 2. One is download the playbook, but there's this, there's another link here that says if you really want to look at the whole playbook, it's about 150 pages, and it takes you through every darn conceivable thing you can do when you're kind of setting these up. So we like it because students will have a transcript of it. We're, including accessibility and inclusion in that. We're also giving, there's out of the 600 or 700 students that are supposed to be coming to this, Heather, guess how many different languages I think we're going to be presenting in?
I don't even know, but man, it's got to be a lot, and we can handle a lot. Tell me.
We can handle, I think, about 7 languages at a time in one meeting. So yeah, we had asked about 10 languages, believe it or not, but in New York City, there's 60 odd different dialects that are spoken. It might even be higher than that, but that's within the college community. So we're going to be actually doing it in 7 different languages. So I'm kind of excited about that. I know this pales in comparison to what we're doing, but the hardest work was kind of coordinating the people. We want to get students that have not been used to seeing teams as well as administrators kind of engage in that. So that's kind of my little thing. I know yours is going to be a lot more exciting, but I think mine will have more impact.
Well, I hope it has a lot of impact. I hope we both have big wins with it, because it's big, small, it's effort, it's care, it's concern. So yeah, I'm excited to hear how yours goes. I'll kind of give you the setup of what this is. And so we have a conference that takes place in November every year called GAETC, Georgia Educational Technology Conference. And it's always face-to-face. It's always, it's really our biggest conference. So if you are familiar with, ISTE, FETC, same vibe. It's just, a little smaller scale, and it's Georgia and some of the surrounding states. It's our big thing. So I personally have an investment in this conference, as it's really where I started learning to love educational technology back when I was still teaching in the classroom. So I attended for several years. I then began presenting for several years. And this year, with everything that was taking place with COVID, they decided they didn't know what to do. What's going to happen? How are we going to deal with this? Are we going to cancel it? Are we going to do part of it face to face? Can we do this virtually? And I said, well, yeah, we can do it virtually, and we can do it on Teams. And the committee there was like, I don't know about it. So, I kind of put together a pitch, gave them like a demo of what I thought this might look like. And and they said, you know what, hey, let's do it. So we are in the final sprint. It takes place next week, November 12th through the 14th. So what I'm going to show you are decently finished pieces of this giant puzzle that I have likened to, the phrase is always, building the plane while you're flying it. Running an entire conference for this organization on Teams as our platform. And so what you're looking at is we have 3 days that the conference takes place. There is an exhibit hall, as you would expect in person. We do have some behind the scenes things where this is the committee. So those of us working on the conference to prepare it are a part of this. We've done extensive training to help individuals prepare. I'll come back to this channel in a second. Another piece is that they have decided to have classes that will last for a duration of 6 months, and they will take place within Teams. And then this is obviously a little private Microsoft channel. So when you come into day 1 of the conference here, GAETC Connect, we've got, it's like I said, it's not 100% complete, so we're missing some posts and things, but we've listed all of our concurrent sessions here. So all the different time slots where you will see things take place. You'll notice obviously that we have 2 private channels, and this is the administrator account that I'm using. So I have access to all of it, but we have 2 private channels, one for the conference team if we need to back channel during the conference if things are going wrong. And each of the sessions that takes place in a Teams meeting is going to have what's called a facilitator and a moderator in there. And in Georgia, we have a gigantic collection of Microsoft Innovative Educator experts. And so they will be in these sessions, and they will be helping out the presenters, troubleshooting if things go wrong, and whatnot. We have what are called premier sessions, and I've actually been working on this today. Premier sessions are folks that have been paid to attend and present at this event. And so these are taking place all as live events during the conference. So at the time that that takes place, the conference, the live event meeting link is here. They will then join, and we can have up to, you know, I think we're still up, we can go up to that 100,000, not that the conference is that large, but we can have these different live events. We've created a help desk. So if you are an attendee and you are very confused throughout the conference, you can come in here, and this help desk is actually going to be manned by, a few weeks ago, you heard from friends of mine in Fulton County, and they mentioned something called the Vanguard team, and the Vanguard team members have agreed to be our help desk. And so they are going to hang out in here and answer questions as they come. As we get into the concurrent sessions, what we were able to do is create a post that, you know, here's our announcement, here are our links. We will be posting the schedule in a PDF format later. I'll show you what that'll look like. But each and every one of these is linked to a session. Yes, these are intentionally bold. I haven't made a mistake. These are what are called featured speakers. But it's not going to do anything if I go here, but you'll see it'll connect directly to that individual's meeting. And so that same thing will take place for each of the different concurrent sessions. Each session will have a files tab because folks like to be able to upload their content or leave behinds. And so each of the sessions has a corresponding file folder. And then each one is going to have a session evaluation that goes along with it. So while it looks all fine and dandy, there's a lot of work that had to take place on the backside. And I am the GAETC conference fake account here. I'm going to show you a couple of different things. But on the back end of it, some things that had to be done in order to get this set up were the creation of all of these meetings. So all of the meetings, all of the live events had to be created by someone. Unfortunately, there is no super bot that was able to do this for me. So all of these were made myself. But what we went ahead and did is we made sure that we invited, oh, I clicked on Microsoft session. This one's going to be good. So we will have, we have our speakers and our presenters, but as you know, and what's annoyed everybody about our meetings is that, you know, you have to let certain people in and whatnot. So I then had to make sure that all of the meeting options allowed for only the presenters to be able to actually present. Everybody can bypass the lobby because everybody actually belongs to this organization. One of the biggest things that we did is we are running this in an environment that is 100% for the conference itself. Now, that doesn't mean if you want to run a conference, it has to be in a separate environment. And if it's internal to your school or your organization, you can do this internally. We wanted to make sure that everybody was a member and had the ability to do all the same functions that everybody else was doing. So we've got all of those sessions there. We've got all of those pieces and parts. But like I said, all of this was done by hand. So I had to come back in. I had to create these posts. I had to copy links from one place to another in order to make sure that people could access them. I'm going to pop over. Yeah, do you have a question, Dave? Were you going to say something?
Always have questions, Heather.
Go for it.
Did you stand this up in a demo tenant, or did somebody else create the demo tenant?
Yeah, we did use a demo tenant. I did hear that in some situations that may not always be the right environment. There is a virtual events assistance team that Microsoft does have access to. I'm not positive if that's available externally. However, they were not really up and running. What was that?
I think somebody.
Okay.
Speaking by accident, so go on mute if you're not. So you hit on it, right? So I always get concerned sometimes when we do stuff in demo tenants because eventually they die, and then if there's content out there that you want to repurpose, it'd be really great. So I'm really excited that you were able to do 50 different live meetings and you got all those created, so you must be really good at those. The virtual events team that you highlighted is kind of where I was heading. They can actually help with this, and depending on the event and some other stuff, they're actually willing to do a lot of that stuff for you, or at least coach you on that, as will the stores. There's some really good people, especially in the Atlanta store. So
Yes.
good stuff.
Absolutely. I'll pop over into the exhibit hall because most conferences, as you know, have an exhibit hall. So we here, for example, I did this post today to get this ready. Here are the exhibit hall hours. And these are primary sponsors, which is why we have this showing for everybody. But you will see that we have a bunch of vendors who've actually signed up. I'll take you into some of their booths a little bit later. We are going to have what's called a student showcase. This takes place every year at GAETC, and so what they are doing this year in order to showcase students, because normally there's a whole section where students are, and it's so incredible, and they sit there and they share, and it's so sweet to see all these kids like talking about it, and we wanted to make sure that that was still a piece of it. So what they're doing is they're videotaping their projects and their video, and then we're uploading all of those in here. So that's very exciting that we still get to have that. We have an Ask Me section. The Circuit Lounge is what we call kind of our social space. And these are really just quick talks that folks will have. And so they'll be able to jump in. They come in, they can, during this time period, here's a happy hour one. Later on, there's one that's like a dance session. And this is kind of the fun part of the expo hall that has always existed, but we've never, but you know, this is our virtual way of doing it. And so I'll take you to the Microsoft booth and what we did, and see, we couldn't decide on our colors and all of that good stuff. But what we did is we set it up so that other vendors had a way to kind of look at what could we do? What are our possibilities in terms of having a virtual booth? So, you know, we started with some posts. We wanted to share some links like, hey, we've got a YouTube channel. Look at our resources. We're able to share files that we really want as leave behinds. And so we've got all of the resources that I love to provide people around Teams. I'm able to put them in here and able to give them access to that. We wanted to show you can put a PDF in. Look how easy it is to put a PDF in and have that for access and show off things. That you can add a YouTube video, and that's another great function, you know, and also to highlight something that we feel strongly about. One of my favorites, we do have our Twitter feed, but one of my favorite things is, if you're not familiar with Flipgrid, we were able to put a Flipgrid in here where the Microsoft ATL team, this is in our booth. So we all recorded videos of ourselves, telling everybody who we are. Some people still have not recorded their videos, but you can watch it, you can react to it. So obviously I had fun. I made mine first. And so we've got this here because we wanted people to have a second to, you know, kind of interact and interface with us. But don't worry, there's more. So this is the start of our booth, but we wanted to make sure that everybody was able to have time to that people, there's actually a face-to-face connection. So I'm going to bring up a different account. This is the Heather account, not the conference account. And I actually built then for every single vendor with a booth, I built them a meeting link. And so it's not that, I just built random things so I could grab a meeting link. So every single vendor will have a link to a meeting that they are able to use, and they can make a big post about it in their booth so that, hey, join me. And those vendors will sit in their booth, in their virtual meeting booth, and they will be able to interact with folks that are showing up. Well, how do they know about it other than just going to the booth? Well, that's another thing I'll pull in here for you. I spent some time, lots of time. We are the Platinum Conference sponsor, big surprise there. And so there are some different pages that I've put together that will kind of showcase. So these are presentations we're doing. If you want to go straight to our booth in Teams, you could click that, or this is the meeting link. So I went through and I did that for all the different sponsors that take place, concurrent session sponsors, and whatnot. But I'm going to skip down just to the vendors in general. So every single vendor, as I said, was assigned a meeting link so that, for example, A3 Communications in their virtual booths, they can post their link, or this particular document will be saved and posted in the exhibit hall. So if I'm like, hey, I just want to go visit Apple, I want to go talk to somebody from Apple, they can just click on this link, they can jump in and they can talk to them. And so it's a way for that connection to still happen despite the fact that we are not face to face, but vendors are still able to connect with participants.
So Heather, just so great stuff right so far. We're at about 4:51.
Yeah.
Catherine said that she was having some issues with calendars crashing when the meetings got spun up when we were doing this. So it's may just, I don't know if that's something worth testing a few meetings at the same time or something at some point prior to your thing. But
yeah, we have been told that we should not have an issue. Hopefully. So yes, we have been having people testing. I'm hoping that there aren't issues. One final thing, and then I'll kind of answer. I'm seeing some questions and I do want to answer those. One of the biggest pieces of the puzzle was training. So we did training in phases. We have a brilliant Microsoft Learning consultant down here in Atlanta named Andrea right here. And what we did is we trained in phases. We started with what's called the steering committee. These are folks that are, the steering committee is anybody who's really working on the conference itself. So they work for GAETC and whatnot. And so Andrea went through and she trained all of them so that they knew how to access, where to go, what were we doing. Then we went to their broader committee, which is what they call their subcommittees, went through again, gave them training. Every presenter was then trained and they were given instructions on, here's the things that you guys need to do, test your link, go here, change your profile. Facilitators, these are the ones, like I said, that are going to be in the meetings. They troubleshoot, they support, they help. If something's going on and something is wrong, they can like run over and drop a note to us and say, hey, come help us in this session. And then vendors. So the vendors, this has probably been the funniest one. Some vendors have presentations, so they have a person that was assigned, but we ultimately assigned generic vendor accounts, 2 vendor accounts per vendor. So they just had training today. So you can see that they've started to do some of their things. So I'm giving them some information. Oh, here's how you could post in your channel to show them where your meeting link is and whatnot. But training was a really important aspect for it. So that was a really big deal. So some questions that I'm seeing: how long did it take to build? I cannot answer that with specific hours, but I will say a long time. One of the things I learned to do is we obviously, because teams can be duplicated, we built the GAETC Connect Thursday team first, so that we had it all with the specifications that we wanted, the types of channels that we wanted, all of those things. And then what we did was we duplicated it to make it easier to move forward with Friday and Saturday. For example, I created all of the session forms. Well, once again, you'll see here in the forms, once I made my first form, for example, a session evaluation one, once I made the first form, what I was able to do was I was able to just duplicate it. And then the only thing I really ended up swapping out each time was, what session did you attend? So it saved work. So anytime I could save myself time, I did that. When I created the links for the vendors, I did those as recurring so that they would see it on each day. Once I created a system for myself personally, it went a little bit faster. that was the biggest thing. In terms of like what tenant, I see questions about the environment, the tenant, buying licenses. I do not have all the specifics on that per se. This was a partner. This was an organization that we had already sponsored through Microsoft. We were sponsors for the face-to-face conference, and obviously things got renegotiated and adjusted based upon the change in the world. And so I think our situation in terms of this environment may be slightly unique. That doesn't mean that I don't think that that's a possibility for a separate environment, but I cannot answer that with certainty. But you could do this within your own environment, for sure.
Yeah, I don't think,
yeah.
Heather, I was going to just add, I don't think there's any reason why you couldn't do it in your own environment, although I understand why people might want to do it. I don't know that we have a easy licensing vehicle for that, although again, some of the stores are helping out with some pretty elaborate conferences in some cases. So you never know. If you have something coming up, ask.
Yep.
I had a question as well. So who's set up all the meeting policies, added all the users and the tenant,
Yes.
and all that stuff?
Oh yeah, great question. Well, I've gotten very good, but I haven't done it all myself. So while I do know how to add users and create groups and everything, Todd Whitehurst, who is moving into a new role but was the ATS for this region, he and I created all of the policies and settings together. So we went through and we just kind of discussed it all. We went through and created specific policies based on your role, presenter, owner, vendor. We then, had put them into groups in the directory, and so we then assigned them based upon what they needed to have access to. Obviously the conference team, they have more privileges than just your everyday attendee. So that was done in conjunction between myself and Todd, who uploaded them into the system for the most part. I would do individual ones. Then what we would do is we would take the data, and once the username and the password was created, because they are getting a username and password specific to this tenant, they are not logging in with their personal things. They are logging in with one for this tenant specifically. Then we used mail merge to email all of them their brand new username and password for their tenant. So they were able to log in. For attendees, well, actually for anybody, but in stages. Attendees, I don't think have received theirs yet. But yeah, it's been a big lift, but I like an event. I like planning events. And I'm excited about it. I think it's kind of been a new adventure. It's a new path that we're going down, and we're really looking forward to hopefully seeing the payoffs. And it doesn't have to look like this. So it seems like too much work. It just depends. It depends on what your purpose is. It doesn't have to look like this. Okay. I want to show you an example. I'm throwing a baby shower. Oh, you can't see. All right. There you go. Right here. Okay. This is hand sanitizer with a personalized label that says a baby is brewing, because I'm extra. So when I do things, they might look a certain way. You don't have to do it in that way. You could run a beautiful conference internally, cut corners where you need to make this successful. It just really depends on the way you want to approach it.
Did you just say the most beautiful event in the entire world ever? I just heard that. Oh, wow. Next you'll be running for office, Heather. You're using some over-the-top analogies there. Anyways, I'm going to avoid politics during any of these discussions, as we always say we like to keep it at the door. So, hey, it looks great, Heather. Wish you luck and breakout rooms and some other things. Maybe we'll make this a little bit easier in some cases, but I love the concept. And it sounds like, you've gotten your hands around policies and setting up things in teams as a teams administrator.
Yeah, I learn by doing, so I would prefer to learn how instead of just ask somebody to do for me all the time. So yeah, so I've been in there, I've been learning. I can do a whole lot of things I couldn't do about 6 months ago.
That's awesome. Did you set up multi-factor authentication for presenters or anything like that, or
I
administrators?
did not, but Todd did. And then he
Okay,
also branded our whole environment for us. So it looks great. It's really pretty
awesome.
when you log in. So it's great.
Well done. It looks like a few other folks have, presented a few things and, really like what you've done. So great work, and thanks for sharing that with us. I'm sure if anybody has any questions, they can always ask you, right, Heather?
They can. Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and I don't know, Steve. I don't know if I'm ready for that. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording and the transcript.